Let me show you something. This is something that Spotify just rolled out. This is the new pre-release countdown timer. And I have in front of me Billie Eilish's Instagram as an example of what we should not do as independent artists, because it takes work to blast the list. And I understand all of those perspectives. You're just thinking about email lists wrong. If you're looking to dominate Spotify this year as an independent artist, then you need a plan. Your goal might be to get more monthly listeners, or it might be as simple as just getting your first 1,000 streams on your song so you can start earning royalties. These 3 marketing concepts I'm about to show you will help solve all those things. So first, I'm gonna show you how you create your launch list so that your song releases never flop. You have an intact group of individuals that you can communicate with regularly who are already interested in your music and your new song releases, right? So that's number 1. Next, I'm gonna show you how to align your algorithms across all platforms so that you could get a synchronized push. And thirdly, we're gonna talk about how to funnel new traffic to your Spotify to activate the high engagement triggers that Spotify really likes. Now, more and more lately, I just like being upfront as to why you should listen to me. Why should you believe all these things that I'm saying? Well, if you wanna get your first 1 million streams on Spotify, I've done that. I've done that for my own music. And so I can help share what I've learned through that journey and that process. Secondly, if you want to get consistent high monthly listeners where you're not riding the peaks and the dips of different algorithms or different playlisting campaigns or whatever it might be, I only have a couple of songs out right now. And yet, because of great marketing, all of my streams are coming from an engaged listener base on Spotify that are listening to my music in their saved library. So that's how I know I'm gonna get the same monthly listener count and a similar amount of streams every single month. And that's just going to grow as I release more music and as I continue growing my audience. And lastly, if you're a manager or you're self-managing your own music and you want to go from 0 streams to over 100,000 streams, I've done that. I've helped break new artists and get them traction quickly. So what's the most important thing when marketing your music? It's getting engaged fans. We all know this. And the best tool to capture the information and establish the communication pathways between you and your fan base is through a list, some kind of email list or SMS text list. And every time I bring this up, there's huge pushback. People are like, what's the point of the list? I don't even know how to grow it. It takes work to blast the list. And I understand all of those perspectives. You're just thinking about email lists wrong. Let me show you something. This is something that Spotify just rolled out. This is the new pre-release countdown timer that they're doing for Spotify pre-saves. And in your mind, what I want you to, for now and forever, is to replace email list with pre-save, okay? They are the same exact thing. I just want you to swap a low leverage goal with a high leverage goal, okay? And everyone understands pre-saves. It's promoting your song before the song comes out. With software like what Spotify's rolling out, there have been other pre-save softwares that have been out, right? The goal of those softwares is just for someone to register for Spotify's notifications. Well, what does that get you at most? At most, it's going to get you a stream, maybe a song save, and maybe a follow on Spotify. That's it. I would call that a low leverage action for all of that marketing effort. And once you have more campaigns under your belt, once you market more, you're going to realize that the marketing costs and the marketing efforts are going to be about the same. It's going to take the same energy and the same amount of money to produce a variety of different actions. And instead of getting someone to engage and interact with a simple pre-save button that at most is going to get you a stream or two, instead swap the ask by asking someone to subscribe to a pre-launch list. And now you've flipped the 80-20 of benefits in your favor. Using something like a pre-save campaign, Spotify gets 80% of the benefits, right? You're promoting Spotify, you're driving traffic to Spotify. They're getting brand awareness off of your music, right? Well, what if we flip that? What if instead of Spotify getting the 80% value, you got the 80% value, right? You're promoting your music, so you want the contact information, right? You're promoting your music, so you You want to be in control of the announcement. You don't want to rely on some push notification that may or may not ever happen, right? And on top of that, if you own the communication and you have that email on your list, you can not only promote your new release, but a week later, you can promote it again. And a month later, you can promote new merch. And 2 months later, you can promote your tour dates or your local show dates. And if you have a website, all you need to do is create a page on your website with some kind of form, some kind of offer. Obviously, you can update this text to be anything. You could say, get the new song before everyone else, or whatever you want to do. You are now free to imagine a combination of ideas that's actually going to create a stronger offer than the simple pre-save the song on Spotify before it comes out. That's so ignorable nowadays. And this is just a template that I pulled up on the website builder, but what I'm going to start doing moving forward is I'm going to mirror the exact look, the exact layout of the Spotify pre-save pages. I'm even going to copy some of the social elements, like embedding an Instagram feed right on my website version of this page. But instead of having all of my social media posts driving traffic to Spotify, right, instead of all of my efforts going to a dead end because once they click this green button, I can't communicate with them anymore, I'm going to think smarter. I'm going to think more future-minded and do this exact pre-save campaign using my email list as the delivery tool. And that gives me a lot of benefits in the long run. By the way, this will be a little meta because you'll use the same language for your fans when you're trying to grow your list. But if you want to get this website template after I convert this to the Spotify version, then there's a link in the description below for you to sign up for the announcement list when I finally create that. You see what I did there? All of your warm-up content for your music can now have a purpose beyond just getting a simple pre-save or a simple stream. You can instead achieve a higher leverage goal. That's a marketing term for getting a better return of your investment on time and money and marketing, all of the above, by establishing that fan relationship on a list-based platform. Now, by the way, if you don't have an email list, the software that I have up on my screen is called Active Brand. It's a website builder, and you can also store your entire email list on here. It's an all-in-one platform. I'll leave the link in the description below if you want to learn more about that. Now that we've talked about launch lists, you now know where that traffic should be sending to when you post on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, whatever it might be. And I have in front of me Billie Eilish's Instagram as an example of what we should not do as independent artists, because Billie Eilish is great and she's very successful, but the current state of her social media practices is for just brand lift and affinity, right? She's just trying to stay top of mind with her existing 119 million followers, right? She's not trying to generate new traffic or break into new algorithms, right? She's going to be seen no matter what because of the size of her audience. And so if you see in front of me, what we have is out of these 9 latest posts, only one of them is a clip of her performing, and only one of them is what I would call a personalized relationship building video clip. The rest of this is honestly just phoned in with random screenshots of her Spotify, which is awesome, right? She's first in the world. I'm not saying anything bad about her performance. This is just not the strategy that independent artists should mimic. Instead, a fantastic example, an example that I bring up time and time again. You've maybe heard of me talk about Mark before, but Mark Sibelia here in Nashville has a much better ratio of the type of posts that he releases on his Instagram and how this drives traffic to his Spotify. So you can see he has his pillar posts that are pinned up on the top. When I say pillar posts, these are the pillars of his content that talk the most about his brand and his music. And these are crafted, these are most likely scripted, and this is not part of his regular content regimen. The traffic that he generates hopefully will overflow into more views for his pillar pieces of content that are pinned at the top. That's a quick alliteration, say that fast, right? So if we scroll down through Mark's content, I would say like 90% of everything he posts is a talent demonstration. It's some kind of video of him performing. And all of these are expressing his cool looping style, right? It's showing him in his creative space. And these are all timed leading up to strategic announcements of his tour dates, of his song releases, right? You can go check out his Instagram. He does such a great job. I highly recommend learning from Mark because he's just such a talented guy. And I highly recommend getting inspired by talented people who are doing it well. So when I talk about the concept of aligning our social algorithms to our release schedule, this is what I'm talking about. This is the term that is so often thrown around as warm-up content, except that's such an empty term that causes more confusion than answers, right? What is warm-up content? What do I need to be doing? All you need to be doing is building momentum by demonstrating your talents and leading up to some announcement posts and time that momentum around your release dates. And that brings us to the sponsor of this video, LANDR. For the past 3 years, I've been recommending LANDR distribution to artists who need a professional suite of tools to produce, master, and distribute their music, all while retaining 100% of their music royalties. So when LANDR noticed my channel and asked to sponsor this video, I was more than happy to continue spreading the good news about LANDR distribution. They do so much more than just get your music onto streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music, because with LANDR, you get everything you need to produce and release your music, including samples, plugins, unlimited distribution, and the world's best AI mastering engine. Plus, meet with your team anywhere in the world with real-time music collaboration software, and tap the talents of a community of pros to take your music to the next level. All of this is included inside of LANDR Studio. Now, if you already have a music distributor but you're looking to upgrade, LANDR accepts outside ISRC codes, so moving your catalog is a breeze. Plus, they will collect the YouTube Content ID royalties for all of your songs. So if you're thinking it's time to upgrade your distributor, then click the link in the description below to get 20% off your LANDR Studio account. And then you could cancel all those multiple subscriptions and enjoy everything you need to produce and release your music with LANDR Studio. And now, back to the video. The other 10% of your posts can be about whatever you want, and let me be clear, you don't need to be exactly like Mark to pull this off. You don't need to do live looping. You don't have to have a rad studio just like him. You just need to have a strong concept for how you're going to express your creativity. And I can't tell you how to do that, and you should not copy someone else's version of that. If you are the artist that you are hoping to be, imagine yourself 1 year from now or 5 years from now, that stage that you're going to be performing on. That artist exists in you now, but the only way you're going to get there is if it's expressed in its fullness right now. And there's a version of that at every stage of your growth. So don't shoot for perfectionism. Don't think you need to have it all together. You don't have to have the full plan together right now. All you need to do is be that future artist right now. All of the inspiration, all of the talent, everything that you're going to bring to that crowd a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever your vision is, let that come true in your expressive creativity today. Once you've done that, you need to next intentionally funnel new traffic to your Spotify profile if you're looking to build that platform. Like I mentioned earlier, that could be in the form of announcing to your launch list when you have new music, but there's more ways in addition to that. And there are actually techniques where you can generate traffic within the Spotify platform so that you don't have to convince people to stop what they're doing and transition platforms, either from Instagram to Spotify or from their inbox to Spotify. You see what I mean? So generating traffic within the Spotify platform means that you don't need to convert someone from some other platform. And it's a lot easier to get streams when someone is already in a listening mood. The first way is to get on Spotify playlists, and I've helped artists do this thousands of times. In fact, I'll pull up an artist right now where I helped him get on 4 or 5 different playlists for his music. And if I scroll down, you'll see this section here are the listener-generated Spotify playlists. That means that they're created by normal people like you and me. These playlists are not owned by Spotify. They're independent. Just like how we're independent artists, these are independent playlists. But we can pitch to those playlists and get your music on those playlists, which is going to be a new source of traffic and exposure for your songs. Now, the audience that we're tapping into is obviously owned by the playlist owners, right? These are intact, huge audiences that your music is going to get exposed to. And when you are placed on these playlists, you can think of the fishing analogy. You're putting a line in the stream and the water is rushing by your hook. And your goal is to hook new listeners as that flood of traffic flows over your music. So getting placed inside this awesome Guardians of the Galaxy playlist or this classic rock compilation playlist is like putting a hook in a wonderful stream of water. And the more playlists that you get on, the more hooks you have in that water and the more fish you can catch. But that's not the only thing. These 4 or 5 Spotify placements are going to lead to thousands of additional Spotify playlist placements. Let me show you. Over in another section of Spotify for Artists, if I look at my playlist ads metrics, those 5 huge placements that we helped that artist get onto are leading to hundreds, sometimes close to 200 additional playlist placements every single day. Now, what is a playlist placement? It could be a variety of things. It could be a regular listener dragging your song to their own personal library, which means that they have a high intent to re-listen to that song in the future. And that's a really good thing. That's how you build your engaged listener fan base, like what I mentioned in the beginning of the video. These could also be placements on other high traffic playlists from other curators that were just inspired by the track and they wanted to include it on the playlist that they're either curating or building for their own collection. And to find that out, all you'd have to do is look at the list of playlists like we did earlier, and you can see the difference here. Here are the playlists that are generating thousands of additional streams, and then below are the playlists that are likely personal lists from users that are just enjoying your song over and over again. But even these personal playlists is no small thing because Spotify only shows playlists in this list if they have more than 2 listeners on that playlist. Real quick, I want to give you a free gift for hanging out with me today. It's my free course called the Spotify Playlist Marketing Manual. It's an easy to consume 60-minute free course that shows you the full roadmap going from 0 streams to your first 1,000 monthly listeners to over 25,000 and beyond. In this training, I reveal what Spotify actually wants to see from you to trigger the algorithm and get free streams every time you release a new song. And I also cover how to develop multiple streams of traffic to your Spotify, including playlists, so that you could get new listeners and song saves every single day. Look, these are the same things that me and my team do for our artists at the marketing agency, and I want to share them with you inside this free training. So if you want to build an effective marketing plan for your music, whether it's a new release or your existing catalog, this training is for you. It's completely free and you can get access instantly. Just register your spot by going to indiemusicacademy.com/playlists. Now back to our video. So there's over 900 of these lists generating anywhere from 2 to 5 streams, and that's thousands of additional streams, plus thousands of other playlist ads that are not even showing in this list, but are confirmed here in Spotify for Artists. You can find this by going to your source of streams breakdown and toggling on artist profile and catalog, which are the people who are streaming your music on your profile, and then listeners' own playlists and library, which are the people who are streaming your music within their own playlists and liked songs. And as a general rule of thumb, if this green line is going up over time, that means you are increasing the size of your engaged listener fan base. Speaking of engaged fans, one of the best ways to get engaged listens on your Spotify is through running a simple meta ads campaign. And I talk about the right way and the wrong way to set that up in this video here. So check that out next.